All right, everybody, it's your boy Cornelius Jones, 10 Mina Investing. We are back again. It is another beautiful day. Everybody, come on in the room. We have some great things to discuss today as May 19th is approaching. And yes, May 19th is definitely significant for the XRP community, all XRP holders. And today we are going to talk about reasonable expectations for May 19th. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First person in the comment section, Slush Naturals. What's going on? Glad you are in the place. Johnny Craig's in the place. Nathaniel Rosaball back again. Glad to see you guys. So we got two things that are coming up on May 19th. We're gonna go over both of them. The first one being Congress is getting ready to go back and vote again on the Genius Act. It's going to share an article with you guys. The Senate will make history and pass the Genius Stablecoin Act next week, according to Senator Bill Hagerty. So as we all know, last week, man, the Democrats were acting a fool, right? And everything crumbled down. A lot of people were kind of upset about that. But here we are, just 1 week later. They've made some adjustments to the bill. According to the article, the major adjustments that were made were about anti-money laundering provisions and also customer protection provisions. So we're going to see if the adjustments they made to the bill are going to be something that we can truly get that bipartisan support and get this bill passed. The Genius Act is the very first piece of legislation that we are expecting to go forth. And after the Genius Act, we should have other pieces of legislation to surely follow. But this Stablecoin Act is the key piece that we need. We're going to have a global framework for stablecoins. The United States has to get this done. I'm highly confident that it is going to get done eventually, right? Will it go through on May 19th? Well, we are definitely about to find out. But I am very hopeful that it does go through, and we're going to wait and see. The second thing we have, which a lot of people, I believe, have a misconception about, and we're going to get into that, is the futures derivatives. The CME Group is launching XRP futures on May 19th. This is confirmed. This is a fact. And a lot of people in the XRP community, especially on X, are very bullish about it. Now, with that said, I want to clear up, after doing some research, exactly what the reasonable expectation should be when we're talking about what futures mean for XRP. What everyone needs to understand is that futures and ETFs, spot ETFs, are fundamentally different. When you have a spot ETF, that is directly affecting market demand for XRP. Why? Because each ETF contract, the issuing institution must buy XRP off of the market directly. Although the customer or the investor may not be directly holding XRP, the issuing institution is. So you have an ETF where the investor gets the benefit off the price movement of XRP without directly holding the asset, while the issuing institution directly holds the asset. But in the futures market, that is not the same thing. The futures market is not going to directly affect XRP demand like a spot ETF will. And so I'm going to go here to my trusty resource, Gronk, and I'm going to read a few things. And I think this is very important to help people understand what we should reasonably expect. Now, XRP futures are definitely great. It is going to help XRP indirectly, but it's not, again, it's not the direct effect that an ETF would have. So I went to Gronk. I put in the announcement by CME Group, the world's leading derivatives. I said CME Group has announced that on May 19th, they are launching XRP futures. Please analyze what this could possibly mean for XRP. The announcement by CME Group, the world's leading derivatives marketplace, to launch XRP futures on May 19th, pending regulatory approval, is a significant development for XRP and the broader cryptocurrency market. Below, I'll analyze the potential implications for XRP, considering price dynamics, market perception, institutional adoption, and regulatory impacts while critically examining the broader context. Obviously, I'm not going to read all this. It is a lot, but just want to drive the point home on what we should expect. So we have increased institutional access and legitimacy. That's great for XRP. Number two, we have the potential price dynamics impact there. The introduction of futures could influence XRP's price through increased liquidity, trading volume, and speculative activity. Number three, the pathway to an XRP spot ETF impact. The launch of XRP futures could strengthen the case for a spot XRP exchange traded fund, a long sought goal for Ripple and XRP investors. So just like Bitcoin and Ethereum had futures that preceded their ETFs, now that XRP has a future, it is very reasonable to consider the fact that that precedent is being set is going to allow the XRP ETFs to come right after. All we need is the legislation part to be completely over in the lawsuit, as we all know. Also, we have, I'm going to skip down a little bit, and I want to go to another question I asked it, because I want everyone to understand the difference between a future and an ETF. So with ETFs, the issuing institution must buy XRP off the market, while the ETF investor is not directly holding XRP. Is it the same with XRP futures? That's the question I asked Gromp. And here's the answer. No. XRP futures are fundamentally different from spot XRP ETFs in terms of how they operate, whether the issuing institution needs to buy XRP, and how investors interact with the asset. Below, I'll clarify the key distinctions, focusing on whether CME Group or other involved institutions must buy XRP off the market for futures and the investor's exposure to XRP. All right, so let's get into this. I'm going to read a little bit more with this part because I believe it gives us a very clear understanding with the distinction between the two. So mechanism. In a spot XRP ETF, the issuing institution creates ETF shares by purchasing actual XRP on the open market. These XRP holdings are stored in custody and directly back the ETF's value. The ETF's price tracks XRP's spot price minus fees. Investor exposure. Investors in a spot ETF do not directly hold XRP. Instead, they own shares of the ETF, which represent a claim on the underlying XRP held in the fund. This provides exposure to XRP's price movements without the need for investors to manage wallets or navigate crypto exchanges. And this is why these large hedge funds with this old school money, right? This is going to be how they onboard to have access to crypto initially without directly holding the asset. We've covered this before. We understand that. However, when it comes to XRP futures, here it is, bullet point number 2. XRP futures, there is no direct XRP purchase required. That's the part everybody needs to understand. Okay, so let's get into it. Mechanism. XRP futures contracts, as launched by CME Group, are derivative agreements to buy or sell XRP at a predetermined price on a future date. These contracts are cash settled, meaning no physical delivery of XRP occurs. Instead, the contract's value is based on the CME CFXRP dollar reference rate. Neither CME Group nor the institutions facilitating futures trading need to buy or hold XRP to offer these contracts. How it works: when you trade an XRP futures contract, you're betting on the future price of XRP. At contract expiration, the difference between the contract price and the settlement price, based on the reference rate, is paid in cash. For example, if you buy a futures contract at $2.50 and XRP's reference rate is $3 at expiration, you receive the 50-cent difference per unit multiplied by the contract size. So the contract sizes for futures, they have a micro futures, which is 2,500 units, and then they have a larger one for 50,000. So in this example, let's say the futures go live. Let's say the contract duration is a couple months and XRP's price is around 250. So now at contract expiration, now it's at $3. So that's a 50-cent difference. And if you had a large contract of 50,000 XRP, then you're going to multiply that. You're going to get a cash settlement of $25,000. That's how that works. There is absolutely zero trading of XRP being done in that transaction. So why do futures matter then? If there's no XRP being bought, how is it still important for XRP? Well, it definitely is. And I'm going to scroll up here a little bit and kind of talk about some of the positive things that we can expect when it comes to the XRP futures. Back in bullet point 1, it mentioned increased institutional access and legitimacy. And I'm going to talk about market sentiment. Posts on X reflect enthusiasm, with some users viewing this as a step toward XRP being treated as a commodity similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum, which could bolster investor confidence. For example, one user noted that CME's regulation by the CFTC implies XRP's commodity status, potentially reducing regulatory uncertainty. However, X posts are not conclusive evidence and may reflect speculative hype. We all know that. We all know that, right? But let's look at the potential price dynamics. Impact. The introduction of futures could influence XRP's price through increased liquidity, trading volume, and speculative activity. Historical precedent. The launch of CME Bitcoin futures in December 2017 coincided with a market peak, followed by a significant correction. Some analysis cautioned that XRP could face similar volatility, as futures often attract speculative trading that can amplify price swings. As of May 2025, XRP is trading around $2.56. It's a little lower now. I think it's down to $2.30 as of today, with a 5.3% gain in 2005, outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum's declines. Liquidity and price discovery. Futures markets can improve price discovery by providing a regulated benchmark. CME CF XRP dollar reference rate calculated daily. This could stabilize XRP's price over time by reducing reliance on spot market volatility. Increased trading volume could further enhance liquidity. So, critical consideration. While futures could drive short-term price spikes due to hype, they also introduce short selling opportunities, which could exert downward pressure. The 2017 Bitcoin futures precedent suggests caution, as institutional inflows don't always translate to sustained rallies. Moreover, broader market conditions could overshadow XRP-specific developments. We already talked about a pathway to a spot ETF, and gonna read this last part and gonna rock with you guys in the comments. Retail accessibility and market reach. Platforms like Robinhood offering CME's XRP futures will democratize access, potentially increasing retail participation. We have Robinhood integration. Robinhood's Vice President JP McKenzie emphasized that XRP futures align with their mission to expand retail access. complementing their existing 40 futures products. This could attract everyday investors seeking exposure to XRP without navigating crypto exchanges. Broader adoption. This is a word I cannot pronounce, but reaching 35 million in assets under management in just 10 trading days highlights strong retail and institutional demand for regulated XRP products. Futures could amplify this trend. Now, the sentiment on next, some X users view retail access as a game changer, which it is, with one claiming it could change everything for XRP by bridging traditional finance and crypto. However, others express frustration, citing perceived price suppression despite positive news. Critical consideration. Retail enthusiasm could drive short-term demand, but inexperienced traders may face risks in futures markets, which are complex and leveraged. Negative sentiment on platforms like Reddit suggests that some investors are wary of volatility or manipulation, which could dampen participation. So if there's anybody out there that, has an idea that, okay, on May 19th, XRP is going to moon, you're going to be disappointed. Okay, you're going to be disappointed. The XRP futures are very important for the XRP ecosystem altogether. And what we must understand, though, is just simply different from the ETFs. When it comes to spot demand, that is going to raise the price as these contracts are being bought, the ETFs definitely fit that category. Futures is more of an indirect effect, but not a direct effect. The main difference, in summary, ETFs require institutions to hold the underlying asset, which is direct demand into the asset. XRP futures or whatever future requires no buying of the physical asset. Okay, so that is very important, and everybody needs to understand that. So on May 19th, do I expect anything with the price? The price could move if we get the legislation passed, if the Senate passes the Genius Act, then I expect there to be a little movement there, not just with XRP, most likely with, generally all the cryptos the whole market will probably go up a little bit on some news like that, but we will surely see. So I'm highly excited about the vote for Congress. That's what I'm looking forward to mainly. When it comes to the futures, I'm very glad to hear about the CME futures. And this is leading to more global adoption, global access to these products. And it's going to pave the way for an XRP ETF down the future. Regardless of all of this, as we are following the news every day with XRP, and it's just, when we get news, it's exciting to cover it. Other than that, man, my feeling is this: wake me up when legislation is passed. That's how I feel. Just wake me up when legislation passes, man. Because for those of you who are looking for news that's going to move the price, you have to understand, it's not the news, it's the utility. News about utility is great, but it's the actual working of the utility, the actual functioning of XRP in real markets that's going to change price valuation. So we still have some time to accumulate, as we're still waiting to see what's going to happen with the lawsuit. We're waiting for the next update for what Ripple and what the SEC file with the court to get everything to come to a conclusion. So that's my rant, people. I ran it for about 20 minutes. Gonna rock with you guys in the comments for about a good 11 minutes or so, and then gonna rock with y'all on the next one. Thank everybody for coming in. I appreciate you. We got Brandon in the place. What's good? RJ the Truth back again. What's going on? Nothing but theatrics, CJ. I think it's all a play. Most of these politicians are puppets, and it's only to play with the minds of retail. ISO 20022 utility coins are the agenda. Facts, 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 all the way facts. A lot of people feel that way, that this is all a show, it's all a play, right? There's a lot of agendas behind the scenes that are at play here that the regular retail does not have access to see, right? I understand that belief. Colin Burt, yo, my guy, what's going on? Back again. Appreciate you, my guy. Big dreams, will that help USDR? Let's talk about USDR very briefly. I'm not going to say too much because I am going to have a very special interview on Tuesday. On Tuesday, I have a gentleman in my Discord group that just has access to certain knowledge and information that I and many of us do not, because of who his affiliation is with the company he works for. And he has agreed to allow me to interview him on a live video on a Zoom meeting on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I'm going to come on live and I'm going to post the link to the Zoom meeting. And then all you'll have to do is click the link and you will have access to the live video that will be in the Zoom. And I'm going to interview him about USDR. I'm going to ask him all the types of questions. You guys can ask him questions. And he's going to tell us exactly what happened to USDR and whether or not USDR should have some positive expectation given the Stablecoin Act that is going to be passed. So we're going to talk about all of that on Tuesday. Stay tuned. That's going to be a big one. RJ the Truth. Also notice how Trump is trying to have $10 trillion flood the market in America by August, which connects with many people feeling XRP should rise August, September. That's my hope. That is my expectation. This gentleman we're speaking of, he told me that it is his expectation that when everything starts, when XRP is beginning that utility season, right? Lawsuits over, the legislation is written, and now we're getting into utility. He expects $72 trillion to be on the ledger starting off. We'll see what that looks like, right? We're not saying when, but in the beginning, about 72 trillion on the ledger. I think that's going to be awesome. We will see how that shakes out. John Stratton, what's going on? No one knows when it's going to move, bro. You know, I wish I knew. I wish I had a time piece or some type of prophetic thing I could look at and tell you guys the exact date when XRP is going to move. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. But we don't need to know when it's going to move. What we need to know is what it is and its role in the new financial system. That's the fundamental thing we need to understand. And if you understand that, then you know it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. For USDR would be another option for wealth in the long list CJ has introduced us to. Yeah, man, if you're in the Discord group, you're getting some great knowledge about XRP and other coins. My guy Kadeem has told us about some great things. I promoted USDR. He's told us about XPR, and he's also told us about the Zebek network. Those are things that we talk about in our private Discord group. Big Dreams, what's good? RJ the Truth. So question, the USDR coins that are pretty much on hold, if things work out, should we be able to take profit in the future on Lobster? Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Nola Man. Oh, I'm skipped a comment. 1,000, you believe. Oh, it's with the 72 trillion on the ledger? Ooh-wee. I'm not saying XRP is going to get to $1,000 this year, people. I want everybody to understand that. That's not what I think. Even with legislation happening, even with the lawsuit being over, I don't see 1,000 this year. I see 100 if those things happen. I think it's a possibility, Not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying I think it's possible. But $1,000 within the next couple years, I think is very reasonable. I think that's very, very, very reasonable. Nola Man was good. RJ the Truth, you talking to Nola Man. I feel BTC, the beta test coin, seeking such old, outdated tech, get to $100,000 a coin. It's a taste for what's to come for us in the future. 100%, 100%. Yes, sir. I know you understand, RJ. What's good, Jeffrey? Thanks for being in here. John says he'll be happy with $10 for the year. Wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all? If XRP could get to $10 this year, that would be great. I believe that is going to happen pretty quickly after legislation and the lawsuit being completely over. Nathaniel Rosaball, 10 Mina, the man, the myth, the legend. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. So Jeffrey says, you think price before regulation? Not sure what you're asking right there. If you could type that over, I'd appreciate it. I keep getting a feeling that something is going to happen that none of us will see coming. We will wake up to a beautiful surprise one day. I see that 100%. I believe one of these days we are going overnight. XRP is there is going to be a significant jump in price in XRP. That's going to make all of our eyes go, what? I believe that. Right now, not saying what that price is going to be, but I believe in the future, when we get to the utility season, we will definitely see a time where XRP is shooting up quickly overnight. And I believe a circumstance like that is going to continuously happen as the utility ramps up. I've said this plenty of times on my channel, and I'm going to say it again, because this is my long-term thesis for XRP when it comes to the price chart and how it will look when we are in a utility season. Right now, everybody's talking about bull seasons, bear seasons. Oh, XRP, we need the lawsuit to be over so it doesn't miss the bull run, blah, 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 blah. That is the most insignificant thing in the world to me when we're talking about evaluating the future price of XRP. I don't care about bull seasons and bear seasons. I don't care what the broader crypto market is doing. XRP is going to completely decouple from that. And so will all the cryptos that are ISO 20022 compliant and have some real utility and functionality. All the coins that have a direct purpose that is infused into this new market in order for it to work seamlessly. All those coins are going to be beneficial and are totally going to have an aspect to them that doesn't have anything to do with the speculative market. And it's hard for people to grasp that because as of today, all we've known when it comes to these markets is speculation. That's the only thing that drives the price as of right now, speculation. But there's coming a day when the utility will drive the price. When the largest institutions that are buying these assets are not doing so because they're speculating on the price. They're doing so because they need it, because their business can't run without it. That's a different reason to buy. That's the utility market we're talking about. So what would that look like on a price chart? Well, when XRP, that first initial burst, right, when it reaches up to a nice high price, whatever that is, it's going to stay at that high price and trade stable. Then technology is going to continue to evolve, which is going to cause utility and usage to ramp up. XRP is designed to scale to meet those liquidity needs from rising utility. What's that going to cause? XRP to shoot up again. So over the long period of time, when we zoom out on a price chart that's covering 10, 15 years, we're going to see a stair-step pattern where it's trading stable, shoots up, trade stable, shoots up, trade stable, shoots up. That's my thesis for what XRP is going to look like. That's why you want to hold XRP long into the future. Imagine selling XRP because it got to $100, and you're extremely happy about that $100. Don't get me wrong. But then years down the road, you're looking at a $10,000 XRP. And then years down the road, you're looking at a $500,000 XRP, something crazy like that. Today, that sounds crazy today, but it's not. There is no cap to how high XRP can go. The only cap is how much will it be used? How much liquidity needs to be served? There is no cap to that. They can put an infinite amount of value on the ledger, and the price of XRP will have to reflect that value. So that's why you want to hold XRP as long as you reasonably can. Let's get back into some comments. Nolan Man. Brandon Briggs said he's seen it go to $5, but then shortly after 500, 1K, then 10,000. He sure did. He sure did. And this same man, Brandon Briggs, everybody needs to understand why Brandon Briggs is significant. Brandon Briggs is a man of God who has already predicted things, and we have documented some prophetic things that have come to pass. Months before Trump got shot, he prophesied it, and it's documented. I believe it happened maybe 2 or 3 months prior. He specifically said that there will be an assassination. Excuse me, my tongue. He specifically said that there is going to be an assassination attempt on his life, and that that he was going to get shot in the ear. He said that very specifically, and it happened. So a man predicting something like that, I pretty much listen to his prediction. So if he thinks XRP is going to get to a certain price over a certain time, I think it's credible because of the things that he's prophesied before. Everybody doesn't believe in prophecy. Everybody doesn't believe in the things of the spirit. Everybody doesn't believe in things like that. I get it. But it can't be ignored that it is a fact that he prophesied Trump's assassination attempt. Jeffrey, do we see price appreciation before regulations drop? We could, but it's going to be speculative. Understand, the speculative market is unpredictable, people. Let's say on May 19th, let's say on Monday, the vote goes well. The Genius Act is passed. It passes the Senate. You have to understand, it already passed through the House. We need it now to pass the Senate. And from the Senate, it's going to the president's desk. That is bullish news that could cause the price of XRP to come up. But I don't know how high. I wouldn't expect anything crazy. But yeah, it could definitely come up before regulations. It's already been coming up, right? But when we're talking about 3, 4, 5 digits, the amount of come up that's going to cause us to be wealthy and have generational wealth, no, I don't expect XRP to get to those type of numbers until we have regulations complete. RJ the Truth. I keep getting I read that already. Here we go. John's Journey. 10 Mina, are you going to start Christian community to help poor people after XRP? I've already started it, brother. You need to come join my Discord group. In my Discord group, we are a body of believers in Jesus Christ. We believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and we believe in using our time, our resources, and our energy to uplift the kingdom of God. So we're going to be talking about different projects we're going to do, kingdom-minded projects that are definitely going to help people in this time where, we could have a situation where it's really rough for a lot of people as this market is crashing, but XRP is up, right? We don't know what the future is going to look like. But yes, when we have our wealth, it's going to be time to use that wealth for the kingdom of God. And I already have plans in place. I already have people in place that are linked with me in that endeavor. So, John, if that's something that you are interested in, if you want to partner with me for things of the kingdom of God, then you need to join my Discord group. The link to my Discord group is in the description of this video. So we'll love to have you. RJ the Truth. CJ, what's your guess for XRP price by the end of this year if you take an educated guess? Sure. Let's take an educated guess, assuming that legislation will be completed and the lawsuit is over. Those things, if they happen around, let's say all that is complete by August. I think that's the most bullish expectation, is that we have legislation passed and the lawsuit is over. All those things are done by August. And that means we have the rest of the fall and we have the rest of the winter for XRP to be unleashed to do its utility thing. My most bullish price for that scenario is $100 XRP this year. Now, if legislation don't pass, don't hold me to a $100 XRP. If something crazy happens where the lawsuit, we're in 2026 and that lawsuit still ain't over, which I don't think is going to happen, well, don't hold me to that, right? But even if those things do happen, I'm not saying, yeah, XRP is definitely going to get to 100. I'm saying I think it can. I'm saying it's a possibility to me. All right. You always got to be careful how you say stuff, because people, boy. But long term, people, without knowing exactly what the price is going to be on a certain date, all I know is you want to be holding XRP, and time is going to tell how right we are. Johnny Boy is saying, let's ride. That's right. It definitely is a ride. Not going to read all the comments. Going to rock with you. I'm already past my time, but I'm going to get through at least these. James Jones, what's going on, my brother? Ben, I agree, man. I agree. Miles are going to drop. Miles are going to drop. Marcel, thanks for being in the building, my brother. Chris says the only thing I don't agree with Brandon is he thinks we're in the final moments leading up to the Lord's return, like within 5 years. Yeah, no one knows when the Lord is going to return. Just like we don't know when XRP is going to raise, right? But it could happen. The Lord's return is imminent. We don't know. It can happen tomorrow. Jesus will come back tomorrow. We do not know. We have our ideas. I have my ideas as well. On this channel, as a matter of fact, if you go to my channel and you scroll all the way down before I started implementing the XRP videos, I have a video explaining my anticipation of when I think the Lord could possibly come on a particular day. Obviously, I don't know, not claiming I know, but I have speculated on some things when it comes to the return of the Lord Jesus Christ. So if that's information you would like to know, if you would like to see my take on that, just scroll down on my channel. You'll find it. You'll see it. John's Journey. Damn, it's going to be great for good people to get power. I would like that. But now I am all in on XRP. Almost zero in my bank. Woo! Do what you got to do, man. Let your conviction lead you. Just make sure you're never investing more than you can reasonably afford. Last comment, then I got to get out of here, people. RJ the Truth says, of course, CJ, I would never blame you. I just value your views. Oh, I know you, man. I know you do, RJ. I know you, man. But that's for everybody else. That's for everybody else who want to, come email me. You said, and I'm like, no, I didn't. I said, I think it was a possibility. I didn't say it was never going to happen. But it's all good, man. It's all good. I'm not shy about price predictions. I'm not shy about price predictions because I believe I do it the right way. I'm never dogmatic about a price prediction. I'm never saying it's definitely going to be this, buy this. You know what I'm saying? That's never my take. That's never my take. But I get price predictions is what we're in the business in. It's what everybody is, wants to know about. And so I don't mind going through those with you guys. But price predictions aside, it's very simple. I'm going to end with this. No one can deny that this world is changing. No one can deny. The evidence is insurmountable. We are switching from fiat rails to digital rails. And there are specific coins that have a functional role to play in this new system. When those coins are being used properly in the way they were designed to be used, their value is going to go up. It's just that simple. Right now, today, we have an opportunity to profit off of a serious discrepancy in how the market sees a particular asset and how the real intrinsic value is going, and where the real intrinsic value is going to lie in the future. You have to have some foresight to be able to see things like that. For those of us who do our research, we understand these things. We've been understanding these things, and we have put our money where our research is, and that's XRP. There are others as well that are going to be very, very beneficial, which we talk about in our Discord group. So, quick update. The next Zoom meetings we have. I already told you about Tuesday. Look forward to Tuesday. I'm going to have my boy Kadeem Hammond. Y'all don't know this guy. If y'all don't know this guy, he's a great guy, and I'm going to interview him. The title will be "What Happened to USDR?" Okay, we're going to have that on Tuesday. Other than that, another Tuesday Zoom meeting. We'll have Zoom meetings every Tuesday and Thursday for people who want to get involved with Cryptex as well. Of course, I'll be announcing that as we get closer to that time. Other than that, people, I'm going to sign off. Thank y'all so much for rocking with your boy. This is Cornelius Jones signing off, and I'll holler at you guys on the next video. Peace and be blessed.